This is my audience. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I decided to do my speech on losing a parent as a child and the grieving process. Losing a parent is more than just a sad feeling. It is life-altering. When you are younger, your parents are the ones you look up to most. What is grief? Grief is defined as deep sorrow, usually caused by someone's death. Childhood grief is one of society's most chronically painful and most misunderstood problem, says Comfort Zone founder Lynn Hughes. Children don't know what they are feeling is classified as grief. Statistics. 1 in 9 Americans lost a parent before the age of 20. 73% of survived children believe their lives would be better had their parents not died young. 66% said they didn't feel like a kid anymore after their parent had died. Losing a parent changes a lot in a child's life, such as living arrangements, emotional well-being, parent financial status, like if your mom dies and your dad is left to take care of all the bills and the finances by himself. The way a child looks at life, they might be angry, upset, see other children with parents and they don't have that parent and they don't feel like they fit in anymore, and lack of parental support. You may have one parent, but do you really feel whole if you don't have the other? And the child. The loss of a parent can make a child feel alone even though they might have so many people around them. Like, for example, at funerals, people are coming by telling you they're sorry, telling you they feel bad and that they're in a better place, but does that really help you feel better when you lose a parent? In some cases, children feel the need to grow up and be responsible after a parent dies. Like if you're a boy and your father dies, you may feel like you need to be the man of the house now for your mom and for your other siblings, younger or older. In other cases, children want to avoid any thought or reminder of the deceased parent. And in other cases, people feel comfort when looking at that kind of stuff. If you look at pictures or videos and it brings up sad feelings and sad memories, maybe kids don't really want to feel that, so they avoid that completely. The child may also feel abandoned and left behind. Some children, when you're really young, don't really understand what's going on. They just know that the parent isn't there anymore. Like, when you're younger, do you really understand what death means? When a parent suddenly dies, a child might not fully understand what happened, and trying to explain to them might not always help. When you are an adult trying to explain to a child what death is, like I said before, are they really going to understand? Like, they know they're not there anymore, but do they really get what actually happened? A child needs time to sort out in their head what loss means. They need to understand in their own way, which an adult might not be able to explain. Next, I'm going to go over the grieving process, which in my experience seems to actually help. If you don't hit each level of the grieving process, it doesn't look good for you if you want to really get through the grief. The 5 stages to grief are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. First is denial. When one finds out that their parent has died, they might not believe it at first. In my experience, my mom had passed away, and when my dad told me, I thought he was crazy. I didn't think that was really what was going on, and I was in complete denial until the actual funeral. One may rationalize the problem and deny the fact, which helps buffer the shock and pain. When you deny it, you're denying the initial pain and the initial shock, so you're just putting it off to feel it until like the last minute. Dealing with the initial pain is extremely hard at first, but denying it seems so much easier to start the first wave of the pain. Next is anger. When one is angry after the death of a loved one, it is not your normal everyday life anger. One may be angry at the loved one that passed, inanimate objects, other living loved ones / friends, or complete strangers. Being mad at the loved one is probably the number one thing, especially if it's a parent. Like, you're mad at them for leaving you, you're mad at them for, like we said before, abandoning you, and you don't understand why they left. One may be, I just read that. Rationally, they know that the person or thing doesn't deserve the blame, but emotionally they feel a sense of relief putting the blame onto somebody else. Especially at first, I didn't want to blame the actual loved one because I felt guilty. So I blamed everything around it, like my dad for not being there, me for not being there, family for not being there. It seems like the easier thing to blame somebody else in any case, not even just death. And bargaining. Bargaining, for example, is when one says things like, maybe if I had been there more, maybe if we got medical attention sooner, or trying to bargain spiritually with whomever they believe. For example, God. If they talk to God every night, like, please give him back, please send him back, don't let this be real, that's a sense of bargaining, which is a part of the process. Like, if you feel like if you beg and you plead, it's a step that you need to go through. This is a weaker line of defense when it comes to facing the reality of the loss. And then I have a little picture on there. Next is depression. Depression is the real feeling. That's when it's all starting to set in. That's when you know that it's real. You know that you got to accept it. Like I said, depression is the actual facing of the grief. The shock is starting to wear off, and all the feelings are finally start to catch up and set in. Kind words, comfort, and being surrounded by loved ones is the best help in getting through the stage of grief. But like we said before, it's not what you need. You need to go through this process. You need to feel each stage of this process to actually move forward. And then my little picture there again. Acceptance. This is finally understanding what you just went through. Like when the funeral's all said and done, maybe if it takes longer. Reaching this stage of grief is not something everyone gets to experience. Like, for my experience, it took a really long time for me to hit every stage, and they were not in the right order. They were not in the order they should have been. Depression was first, bargaining was last, acceptance was not even in there until later years in life. This means you have healthily accepted the fact that your loved one is gone, and even though the pain is still there, you understand that the death means that they're not coming back. You understand that it's a part of life, and it's the way it is. You finally have accepted it. Conclusion. Coping with the loss is something one needs to do on their own and in their own time. No one else can tell them how to feel or how to deal with it. One will move on and accept on their own terms, but others can be there to support you while you take your time to mourn. And that's all I got. Thank you.